Yo, what is going on, everybody, and welcome to episode 4 of the Movie Discussion podcast. I am your host, Mustache Man, and I basically just talk about movies all the time on my YouTube channel, link below in the description. If you want to learn how you can interact with me for this podcast, definitely go check out the Movie Discussion podcast subreddit, link down below in the description, or if you want to type it on Reddit right now while you're listening to this, it is just Movie Discussion. And also go over there if you would like to interact with me. Next up, we have the format. So the way that I used to do it was I used to start out with my Blu-ray haul if I had one. I'm going to get rid of that segment because I have not been buying a lot of Blu-rays recently, and I don't really plan to, except for a few things. Then we get into the first and second movie discussion. Both of these are on 2021 movies, or just new movies that have come out, and these are not spoiled for you guys. It's just my overall general thoughts and opinions on them without spoilers. Then we go into the third movie discussion, and that is the film recommendation, which will be spoiled, and it's basically just a movie from any time period from before 3 years ago. So yeah, let's get started with the first movie discussion. First up, we have the newest Nicolas Cage movie, I think, Pig. And this was a pretty good film, I think. I think that it's definitely overhyped. A lot of people gave it like a 9 out of 10 on Letterboxd and IMDb, but I personally don't agree with that. I do think there are some great sequences in it, and I think there's some really experimental filmmaking going on with some of it. And I think Nicolas Cage and Alex Wolff gave pretty good performances overall, nothing really that bad, and I thought that this was kind of sweet. It's just basically about Nick Cage wanting to find his truffle pig, and they basically go on this wild adventure to find it, and it's gut-wrenching in some scenes, and in other scenes it's not. Some of it felt like filler, some of it felt like fluff, but overall it was still a pretty fun watch. I wouldn't necessarily say this is gonna be everyone's thing, especially if you don't like gritty movies, but it is still fun, and I would recommend it to anyone who likes Nick Cage, whether or not you like him as his goofy self or as a serious actor. And I have not seen many Nick Cage movies, but I've heard that many people think that he's a very hit or miss actor. I think personally that this is a hit for him if all of his other movies are goofy, so yeah. Definitely go check it out if you're a fan of Nick Cage, and I am going to be giving it a 6 out of 10. For the second one, this is a movie that just dropped on Netflix. It stars Lin-Manuel Miranda, and it is called Vivo. It is by Sony Animation, which, speaking of, they have done a lot of films this year. They've done The Mitchells vs. the Machines, Wish Dragon, and Peter Rabbit 2 in this one, as far as I'm aware, and they're also coming out with Hotel Transylvania. I would like to talk about Sony just for a little bit. I think that they're a good animation studio, despite things like the Emoji Movie and Peter Rabbit 2 and stuff like that. I do think they have their duds, but I do think that they overall are a very good studio. They've made things like Spider-Verse, Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, and Wish Dragon and The Mitchells vs. the Machines, which was very good. And I think that they definitely deserve more credit than people give them. I think that it's a great studio that just has a pretty not great output sometimes. But still, with that being said, Vivo wasn't great. Now, let's start out with some of the stuff. I really enjoyed the first 20 minutes and the last 20 minutes. The last 20 minutes actually almost made me cry. It is a very powerful film that can teach kids about grief and death, but it tries to be a mature kid movie in those first 20 and last 20 minutes. But in between, it really just goes for a more generic animated movie formula. And basically, the premise of this film is there's a talking monkey called Vivo, voiced by Lin-Manuel Miranda, and his best friend, or his partner, who's an old man. They sing together in, I don't even know what country it is. I think it's Cuba, but they, basically, something happens to the old guy, and there was this woman that, wanted him to go and perform for their last one. So Vivo is basically trying to get the song from this guy that he really likes and admires to his long lost love and all that. And it was pretty great for the first 20 minutes, like I said. And then they introduced this character named Gabby, who is a very annoying sidekick character, and she's basically used as the comedy relief. I don't think she's comedic in any way, but she's basically just annoying, and they just go on this adventure through the Amazon. Michael Rooker shows up at some point, and it's just really weird. Also, this is a musical, and as far as the music goes, this is a great film. I love the music. The music is just really good. I love the way that Lin-Manuel Miranda's music is written, and I think he's a very talented artist. And I also think that he was a pretty good voice actor and singer. But that girl, Gabby, makes this film so bad. She's very, very stupid, and she does have at the core of her character an emotional center, but we don't really get to that except for like 2 minutes, so it's not really worth it. And I did like her by the end, but it took a long time, and she was annoying for a lot of it. And she has a song in there that was just, it had me completely zoned out. It was terrible. And I don't know. The animation is really good, I will say. I think that it could have been a lot better, especially with textures and the way that backgrounds are made. But overall, it was pretty fun. There was a good integration with some 2D animation as well. And for those moments, I really loved it. And it was overall just a fine little film. It wasn't my favorite by any means of Sony animation, but it was definitely not the worst at all, and I'm going to be giving it a 4 out of 10. And finally, we have the movie recommendation, which was the Lego Movie, directed by Lord and Miller, who made Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs and produced Mitchell's vs. the Machines. They also made 21 and 22 Jump Street, and I think they're planning to make 23 Jump Street. And I have not seen those, but I have seen all of their animated catalog, and I shall say they are great. Oh yeah, they're also the people behind Spider-Verse. So I was very, very excited to rewatch this film. I haven't seen it in years, probably since it came out, and I remember liking it a bit when I was younger, but it wasn't, one that I kept returning to. So, what did I think about it? Well, it is a bit overhyped for me. I probably won't be watching this again until a list or something, but for now, I can just say it is not that good to me. It's not necessarily any big criticism that I had with it. It was just that I didn't personally love it the way that everyone else does, and maybe that's my fault, but it's just my opinion. And I thought that the comedy, especially in all these Lego movies, the comedy really doesn't make me laugh. It makes me, think, oh, that was a good attempt at a joke. And it's just really childish in the way that comedy works in these, because it's like, the setup for the joke is just, well, I'm gonna say this one thing that will definitely not happen, and then it happens. That's pretty much every single joke in all of these Lego movies, and it can definitely work, especially in things like the Batman movie and stuff like that. But it was never working for me here. Or, well, I wouldn't say never. It was working sometimes here, but it didn't, click with me the way that a lot of other comedy movies do, and it just wasn't my thing. I thought that the animation was very detailed and expressive, and I thought that, it did great at capturing Lego, and the way it was used was very artistic, and it was aesthetically pleasing as well. I thought that this underlying message of, even if you don't think you're special, something about you is special. I thought it was a great underlying message, and I think that there's some truth to it, that even if, you're in the shadows and not everyone knows you and you're just kind of another face in the crowd, that you can do great things still. Everyone should be able to. So yeah, I did think that this was pretty, fine. I thought that Lord Business was pretty good, and I don't know, there were a few narrative beats that I liked. Like, I liked after Metalbeard came into play, I like Unikitty well enough. The characters are fun. I think that Chris Pratt is like the perfect choice for Emmett. I think he really captures his, kind of joyfulness and his naiveness as well at the same time. And I think, Chris Pratt should do more voiceover roles, because that was actually probably probably the best part of the movie was the voice acting. I thought Elizabeth Banks did pretty good as Wildstyle, Morgan Freeman was pretty good as Vitruvius, and the highlight of the side characters, to me at least, was Will Arnett as Batman. I think he is the perfect voice to like capture his ego and just the way that Batman is as a character, and I like that they went for this more crude Batman thing. Especially since we're getting more serious Batman stuff, I like it whenever they go for this, unconventional stuff for these comic book characters. And then we have the villain of Lord Business and Bad Cop. I thought the voice acting on Bad Cop and Lord Business was perfect, especially Will Ferrell for Lord Business. He was very expressive, and he very much, captured the passive aggressiveness of Lord Business and his kind of malicious tendencies, and he kind of nailed his sweetness too. And I just thought that it was overall a pretty good movie. Like I said, no criticisms really, but it's just that I personally don't connect with this movie as much as everyone else. And that's okay. So I'll definitely give it a rewatch, and my opinions may change on it in the future. But for now, I will give it a 7 out of 10. Definitely not bad, just not really my thing. And with that being said, guys, that is the end of the episode. If you want to go check out my channel and my videos, link below in the description. Same thing with my subreddit and the movie discussion subreddit, where you can ask questions and suggest film recommendations. So with that being said, guys, thank you so much for watching. And also, if you want daily movie reviews, go check out my letterbox, link below. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. It is always a pleasure to be on here. And with that being said, I'm going to get out of here. Later, guys. Peace. Sorry, but I forgot to mention it again. I think I'm just going to record this after everything, but next episode's recommendation will be 12 Angry Men, directed by Sidney Lumet, and it came out in 1957. So yeah, that will be next podcast episode's recommendation, and thank you guys for watching.